Right, okay guys, the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is adding effects onto various layers. And the way in which we do this is that we have to select the layer that we have, that we want to put the effect on, and you can either double click over here for it to bring up the layer styles and effects, or you can go down to the FX button here and they are all in here, and when you click on it, it brings up the various layer styles and effects that we've got. So, click on it, double click, and here we go, this is what it brings up. Now, a couple of things there, there's quite a lot for you to play with. Remember we're working on the text up here, so let's sort this out so we can see. So it'd be better like that. So in here we've got one nice effect called drop shadow. See that when I turn that on, it gives us a shadow behind the text. You can change the colour in that, get red or something, which is quite good. We've also got size. So it's best to have a low size, but we might want to have something like distance to move it away, like that. We've got an angle here to change the angle of where it appears. See when we move that around. Okay. We've also got spread as well. So how much of the drop shadow we have. See, that changes. So that's quite a good effect that you might want to use in here. Another good layer style that we've got in here is something called an outer glow. So let's just click on that and see what happens. So it's adding a glow around the outside of the text. And again, in here we've got our spread, how much we want, the size of it, how much of a glow we want in there. Do we want it to, that's glowing through out here. And we've got the colour that we want, so how it's going. So we can use, you can either use a colour, an individual colour, for example like this. Let's just use a different one. Let's use a dark one and green. Green's better. Okay, or you can use a gradient. Just selected from doing it here. Add in different gradients. Remember how to set your own gradient up, like we talked about in the last tutorial. Again, also outer glow, inner glow, exactly the same, but it does it inside the text, so it glows from inside. Bevel and emboss, in terms of sort of makes a 3D effect to your text. So you've got different options. You've got an outer bevel or an inner bevel. Remember we've got our size, so how much we want it to come out. See that? It's really 3D now compared to there. Size and the depth, how deep you want it. You know, the larger the depth, the more 3D it looks. So through there. And the shading again, we can check this. We can pick a different colour through this. Change the angle if we want the shading to appear. So like this, which is quite good. Again, also within here there is things like texture to change the texture of your bevel if you want it to look differently, but you probably don't use that very much. So that's bevel and emboss. Satin, we won't really use, I'd imagine. Colour overlay will add colour on top of it. I'd imagine you won't use that, but you might use this gradient overlay, which here again is adding a gradient to text. Or remember that you can pick your own. You can make it smaller, the gradient there like that, larger. Change the angle of it, how you want it to appear. Okay, finally you've got pattern overlay in case you make your own pattern, which I don't reckon you'll use, and stroke. And all stroke does is add a colour around the outside of your text, like that. Again, we've got the size options there to make it bigger or smaller. And we've got an opacity to make it see-through or not, like that. Okay, so there's some of the layer styles that you might want to apply to your text or other layers that you are working on when you're working on Photoshop.